When you think of medieval times, you'll most likely think of a dirty, smelly, drab existence where everyone was drunk all the time to dull the pain of existence. Nothing could be further from the truth. Today, I'll be shedding some light on how our modern perceptions of medieval life don't match historical reality. We assume that because we're modern, we're better than those who came before us. But that is an unfair viewpoint. We need to give credit where credit is due. My name is Logan Graham, and I am a history major. And I have a great interest in medieval times, enough for me to sink hours of learning into. And from my learning, I know medieval people had standards of cleanliness, they drank water, and they had a great love of color in almost everything they made. Let's scrub away some of these myths, starting with medieval dirtiness. They had a sense of cleanliness. They even had health manuals. For instance, the Regimen Sanitatis Salerni from the 14th century says, "The bath cleans the external body parts of dirt left behind from exercise on the outside of the body." Bathhouses were also popular in medieval times. In 12th century Paris, Alexander Neckham writes that he was awoken each morning to "the baths are hot." Southwark in England had 18 baths. And people also bathed in rivers, as you can see from many illuminated manuscripts. They also had the general theory of miasma, in which bad smells supposedly cause disease. This naturally led them to prioritize good smells. Also, there are more ways to clean yourself than a bath, for instance, showering, but also just taking water, soap, and a cloth and cleaning yourself like that. Cities could be quite dirty, though, as they are today. Next, let's refresh ourselves with medieval drink. They had access to drinking water. Although, like today, they also had a preference for flavored drinks. In Aelfric's Colloquy from the 10th century, he writes, "Ale if I have any, or water if I have no ale." Other sources, such as the Regimen Sanitatis, again, says that rainwater is best for drinking. Lupus Servatus, abbot of Ferrieres in the 9th century, writes, "Let us make use of a healthy, natural drink, which will sometimes be of benefit to both body and soul, if it is drawn not from a muddy cistern, but from a clear well or the current of a transparent brook." In 12th century London, they had what is called the conduit, which was a system of lead pipes that brought water into London from springs outside of the city. I question their choice of metals, but it is important to have a source of water in the middle of your city. Now, let all the previous information color your view of the next topic. They loved colors, as you can see by many of the illuminated manuscripts and stained glass. But additionally, people have found paint flakes on the outsides and insides of buildings such as cathedrals and castles that often show rich painting decoration. And as for clothes, well, as you can see from the historically accurate clothes that I wear, based off of historical findings, they loved to have a vibrant palette of colors as well. Well, there is much more I could tell you about medieval life. I hope that now you have a slightly more accurate understanding. You now know how important cleanliness was to the average medieval person, as well as their drinking preferences and their colorful creations. The people who lived in the Middle Ages cared about many of the same things that we do. We aren't so different from them. Thank you for listening, and now I am open for Q&A.
What did they make drinking vessels out of?
Generally clay, but also wood and various metals such as pewter or silver if you're rich.
You talked about the water coming into a city. Did they have a method to get rid of the waste?
Generally, they would take their waste outside of the city, usually to a cesspit of some sort. The gong farmers, who had a thriving trade and guild, were usually in charge of that.
Okay.
Now that I'm done, I would thank you for coming to my presentation, and here are some handouts with my sources.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.